So my mom wants me to give my sister 800,000 US dollars. Yeah, I know, sounds so absurd. Let me go ahead and run you down how I got to this situation. My mom and sister absolutely hate my dad. He passed away. I was very close to my dad, so I don't know why they were so surprised when my sister got $5,000, my mom got $50,000 worth of assets, but I got $800,000, the rest of his money in his bank account he's been saving for his whole life. I don't know why they were surprised, but now my mom's got me in quite the pickle. I didn't expect the funeral to turn into this. It's been a crappy couple of days. I don't feel like I can talk to anyone I know. So I'm here online trying to vent and possibly get advice. Recently my daddy passed. It was sudden. He got sick, succumbed to his illness very quick. Well, the funeral did not happen yet, and my mom wanted to know, well, the will reading. The results of the will reading had my family in shambles, but I should start from the beginning so you can understand how everything kinda blew out of control. My sister Leela and I were so close. Just kidding. We were never close. I was born first and then came my sister a little over a year later. About a year and a half, but that's beside the point. Dad and I were always closer. My personality was like my father, while my sister was like my mom. This might be the reason why she never really seemed to like me much. Mom never seemed to like Dad, and Dad and Mom didn't date for long before she got pregnant, and sometimes I think my mom did it on purpose because my dad came from wealth and was also a hard worker. So my dad, being the good guy that he was, ended up proposing to my mom. Then I was born, and yes, a year later my sister was born. In the beginning, I think my mom did care for me, but when it became obvious I was like my dad a lot, she started to dislike me more. Mom never liked Dad, like I said, and the only reason she married him was because she got pregnant, and she knew Dad was going to take care of her no matter what. But for some reason Dad stayed, and there's something I never seemed to understand. Why stay with Mom if she seemed to hate you? Once I did ask my dad why, and he just said that he believed that marriage was for life. For him anyways. I didn't know what to say after that, and in my mind he should divorce her because she hated him. But Dad wasn't going to do it. So I did my best to stay close to my father and always be there for him no matter what. Mom started growing resentful after that, and to be honest, I was close to my dad, and I have no idea why she acted like this, but it is what it is. Then there was my sister. She was exactly like my mom, so naturally, my mother just preferred her. This caused my mom to spoil her to no end. See, with my mom hating my dad and me, my sister followed suit. It was like me and Dad against my sister and Mom, and as you can imagine, they did not make for an easy living condition. I ended up moving out at 18 to go to college. But I didn't go far off to some college because I wanted to be close to my dad. He and I spent together every single weekend, the two of us. That's why when he died, it was very difficult for me, but I'm jumping ahead, right? My point is that my father and I were best friends. The older I got, the less time he spent with my mother or sister. Why did mother and sister have to treat each other like this? I didn't know what to do or what to think about, so like I said, I tried to stay around my dad. After college, I ended up moving into an apartment and starting to build my career. I was doing well for myself, and a couple years later I'm doing great. You know, until my dad ended up passing. We found out that he was sick a few months before, as I mentioned, but it was too late. It's no one's fault that we weren't able to find out he was sick. It's just a hard disease to pinpoint ahead of time. When father passed, I was in shock. I mean, he was my rock and the most important person in my family. This brings me to the current issue. Before my father could even be buried, my mom wanted to have the will read. I was so angry that I heard her say this and confronted her. Mom said that she had every right to see how much money Dad left us because it was the only way that she was going to be able to support herself. The will reading did not matter to me. I knew my dad would leave me something. It was going to be split between my mom, sister, and I, but that's fine with me. The only thing I wanted was for my dad to come back. You know, but this is real life and not a fantasy, so I wasn't really looking forward to the will reading, but when it happened, it shocked everyone, even me. It turns out that what my dad left my sister was $5,000. My mom, $50,000.
$100,000. And well, me, the rest of it, which totaled roughly over $800,000 of all his assets. When I heard the lawyer read this, I was in shock. It never occurred to me that this was going to happen. Dad never said anything to me about it. He always said that I was going to be taken care of. To me, it meant that he was going to leave me enough to have a small nest egg, not a huge golden goose. When the lawyer read this out, the entire room went quiet. I swear you could hear a pin drop. Actually, I think I did. That was how quiet it was. Then my mom stood up and demanded to see the will. She didn't believe it, but the lawyer showed her exactly where it said that I got all the money. It looked like my mom wanted to jump me or something right in the room. She was glaring daggers at me, and so was my sister. It blew up once we got home. The two got in my face, started to scream, and demanding to know how I got my dad to give me all this money. I kept telling them I had no idea he was going to leave me the money, but they refused to believe it. I ended up leaving the house even though it was where I was staying right now. It was easier to stay there so we could all plan my father's funeral. But there was no way I was going to stay there with how my sister and mother were treating me. They're constantly screaming at me, blaming me for something that was not under my control. It's also shown that they never have given a crap about Dad. He tried so hard to take care of them our entire life, but it did not seem to matter to them at all. The next day after the will reading, my mom called me, and she was real calm, and said she was sorry for blowing up. She asked me to come by the house, and because I was still grieving, I decided to just see what the hell she wanted. My sister, she wasn't there, but I heard shuffling from the upstairs, so I think she was in her room or something, whatever. I turned to my mom and asked her what the hell she wanted. Mom said that it would only be fair if I give the money to my sister. The reason for this is because my sister doesn't have a job right now, unlike me who has a good career, where I'll end up making a boatload of money. I told my mother that there's no way I was going to give up my sister like this to all the money. Maybe I'd give her some money, but first, my sister had to realize that she needs to get her act together. If she could prove that she was working and was doing well for herself, then I'd consider giving her some money. Mom didn't like the sound of it. She told me that wasn't fair. My sister needed all of it, so Mom could know that my sister was going to be taken care of. The more that I said no, the angrier she got. So I just got up and left again. The funeral's in 2 days, so I'm going to have to talk to her. Do you all have any advice on how I can get through the next few days without feeling like I want to pull my hair out in frustration? Honestly, I'm growing quite desperate, so please give me any advice that you have. It's going to be tough seeing my mom and sister at the funeral, but at least after this I won't have to bother with them that much anymore. Dad left me the money and that's it. He wouldn't have left it to me if he didn't think that I was the one who deserved it out of everyone else in the family. I'll probably update after the funeral, but I don't know how long after the funeral. Guys, just keep me in your thoughts. Update number 1. My mom could not stand the fact that I would not give my sister money, so she had me arrested for stealing jewelry. Okay, so the last time I checked in with you guys was a few days ago. Telling you how my mother was straight up demanding I give my mom some money to my sister. If I didn't give it to her, my sister, well, then there was going to be consequences, and I rolled my eyes at my mother because she was always making such stupid threats. Idle threats. She'd been doing it since I was a small girl, and my dad's funeral was going to be in a few short days. I need to focus on that, and the only reason the will reading was done first, if you can remember, is because my mom wanted to know what she was getting, Great wife, right? But I'm not here to make these sarcastic comments. It's not why I'm here. No, no. I need to tell you what happened at my father's funeral. It was disgusting that my mom pulled this in front of all the friends and family of my father, and also very embarrassing to have all those eyes upon me, judging me and believing what she was cooking up. After they buried my father, and they were actually about to leave, the police officers approached me and said that I was being arrested for theft. My mother starts to cry, saying she couldn't believe I had stolen expensive jewelry from her. Yes, I was arrested because Mom could not stand that I had not given my sister any money. My father left me. Don't worry. I wasn't in jail long. I ended up getting out a few hours later after calling one of my good friends who's a lawyer. The police officers apologized, saying that my mother made a mistake. She thought the jewelry was missing, but ended up finding it. An honest mistake, she kept saying, but I knew the truth. It's crazy that my mother did all this, but honestly, I should not be surprised. I asked if it was possible for me to press charges for a false report. Then the police officers said it was a civil matter, which is what they liked to say when they didn't want to deal with it. I'm at a loss for what to do now, or how I can even accept what my mother has done. Why would she do this to me? I mean, I've never done anything to her, yet she wants to lie and put me in jail? If you guys have any advice, please leave it in the comment section. I'm not good at this. I don't know what to do other than keep my distance from my mom and sister. Right now, we're still going through my father's belongings, and I hope that we'll be able to go through this thing quickly, so that I can get back to my apartment and move on with my life. There's no way I'm putting up with my sister and my mother for any longer than I must. These two hate me for a reason I'll never understand. And the only way I'm going to have any peace is if I cut them off. For good. Keep me in your thoughts as always, and I'm going to need all the help that I can get. Update number 2. My sister tried to pose as me and steal the money from my account, and Mom bailed her out. Update 2. Well, not even a week later, and my sister pulled some crap. I didn't realize this happened until my bank rang me the other day to let me know that someone had shown up at the bank claiming to be me and wanted to withdraw money. The money they wanted to withdraw was the $800,000 my father left me, but I had not gotten the money yet. When they told her that she needed to leave, she threw a fit and they had her arrested. Can you guess who it was who threw a huge fit like a child? If you're thinking it was my sister, then you deserve all the cookies because it was her. She decided that she was sick of me saying no, and she ended up going to the bank to see how much money she could get. I couldn't believe she was doing this. My sister was truly insane, but my mom was worse. See, I wanted to press charges or do something, but because my sister did not get far from trying to pretend to be me, she was just charged with trespassing. Then my mom bailed her out. It wasn't like she had to pay much either. It was small amounts she had to pay. This is it. I need to do something. I mean, my sister could have potentially broken into my account and stolen my money. Okay, not really, because the two of us aren't twins. She's a year younger than me, and while we do look alike, we're still looking different enough that people can tell us apart. What do you think that I should do? I seriously need to find some ways to instruct my mother and sister that this is not something that they can do. Pressing charges at this point doesn't seem possible. I'm at a loss for words of what to do, and if you have any advice, as always, please leave it in the comments. I just feel like I'm frozen, not knowing where to turn. Mom, she's pushed me too far this time. She's always treated me like crap, and I dealt with it because of my father. He showered me with attention because of this, so if my sister or mother are jealous that he left me so much money, then they should be angry at themselves. Dad would not have done that if Mom showed me attention too. I don't know why Mom preferred my sister more than me. Maybe they were more alike or something, and my personality did grow up more with my father. Mom and Dad never really got along, or rather, Mom never seemed to like Dad. Honestly, I think the two of them were just married because she wanted his money. But my dad is gone now. The only person who ever mattered is gone. He was the only reason I put up with my family, so yes, like I said, I don't know where to go from here. I'm going to try to see what my mother's been up to. There must be something I can do that will embarrass and shame her. After that, she did, everything she's done to me at my dad's funeral, it's what she deserves. Updates number 3. I did some digging. Well, guys, it turns out my mom is the one who stole the jewelry, so I invited her over only to have her arrested. My goodness, it's been a crazy 2 weeks. I'm sorry I haven't been able to update you, but it's truly been a crazy 2 weeks. My mom finally got what was coming to her, and as we say, she's sitting in jail. Being charged with theft. Okay, let me start with the beginning so you can understand what I'm trying to say. See, my grandmother is still alive, but well, old. She's sharp as she can be, as her wits are still intact, but my grandma can't do much because of her health, so she pays for around-the-clock care at home. See, my grandmother is my paternal grandma, making her my dad's mom. She never cared for many mothers, which was correct for her. But anyways, I decided to pay a visit to my grandmother and see how she was doing. Everything was fine until I left to go to the jewelry box and came back down with it. This was where the problem started. After my dad suddenly died, Grandma decided she wanted to give me some jewelry. She wanted to make sure she could see me wearing it before she passed, but when my grandma went to look in the jewelry box, she couldn't find it. I asked her what was missing, and when she was describing was the same jewelry my mom told the police I stole. I gasped. I realized my mother had taken it, and with my grandmother's help, I was able to get proof that she had owned the jewelry for years, which pictured it going back decades of her wearing it in pictures. After gathering the evidence, I decided it's time to go to the police. I showed them all the evidence, and my grandmother said she wanted to press charges herself. A warrant was placed for my mom's arrest, but they did not have to go far. All they had to do was go down to my apartment. See, I invited my mother over under the pretense that I was going to be giving my sister the money because I reconsidered. What ended up happening was that soon after my mom arrived, the police came and arrested her. To get out of the charges or get charged with less, she ended up telling them where the jewelry was. No one knows how long my mom had it. Grandma had no reason to wear her jewelry anymore and had not checked on it for years. She just assumed it was safe and sound because it was kept upstairs in the safe. Only my dad and mom knew the code. The only reason my mom even had access was because my dad gave her the code ages ago. It wasn't a clever idea, but hey, my dad loved my mom more than anything for some reason. You'll be glad to know everything's okay. It's more than okay. My mom finally got what she deserves, and because my sister is lazy, she hasn't bothered to bail her out yet. I don't know if I'll have any more updates, but if I do, I'll be sure to keep you in the loop. Final update, Mom and sister are fighting. Hey, it's been a month since my last update, and from what I've been hearing, my mother is going to plead guilty, or something. Since she gave it back, my grandma does not want something long to drag out because she's old and tired. That's her words, not mine. I was going to hop on just to tell you about it, but then something huge happened. My dad left me at the house. Oh my gosh, when I learned about it, I was shocked. I didn't even know that this was the case until the estate lawyer checked on the deed. The deed said that the house is in my name. This means my mother and sister have no right to it, and when I learned it, I went to my sister and my mom. I told them, "You got 30 days to get out of here. Here's an eviction notice." I'm not a terrible person and like to follow the law. All I must do is give them 30 days, and they must go. My mom and sister started to fight in front of me, blaming each other. Mom was screaming at my sister and asking her why she was so lazy. All my sister did was shout back that my mom should always take care of her because of her disability, which apparently is depression. I don't know if I believe my sister has depression like that, but that's not a subject for this post, and I'm going to not broach it right now. Anywho, my sister and mom clearly came to blows. I just reminded them that I was not going to let them stay any longer than 30 days. It doesn't matter to me where they go or what they do. They must get the hell out. Honestly, I'm not even going to keep the house. It would be too painful to stay there without my father. I'll probably put it up for sale and then just take the money from the sale to get another piece of land or house somewhere. The further away from my mom and sister, the better, right? So guys, this is actually where it stands. My mom and sister have been blowing up my phone, and they're going all over social media blaming me for what I've done. But I've blocked everyone who said that I need to give them another chance. Well, my mom and sister have been absolutely blowing up my phone. But why should I give them another chance after everything they've done to me? They wouldn't do the same for me. On behalf of my sister and mom, they're airing their grievances and telling me what I should do. When I said that they should be the ones to take them in, they said it wasn't their job. Oh yeah, crazy, right? Guys, I honestly think this is going to be my last update. There's just really nothing to tell. I don't know if my dad would be pleased with how I'm handling this, but I think he would understand that I can't just keep going on pretending like my mom and sister don't treat me like crap. Anyways, thanks again for everyone who's been keeping me in their thoughts, giving advice, or even just reading alone. You know what? I really appreciate each and every one of you.